It's time for NBA Draft by the Numbers. Does Cooper Flagg hit all of the right marks, or do we have a red flag? We'll look at all the top 5 picks and explain the system next on Locked on Jazz.
You are Locked on Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
How are you? I'm David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz, Jazz NBA insider. This is Locked on Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz, giving you insight, expertise, geeky numbers, and hopefully making it way better to be a Jazz fan each and every day. Thank you so much for making Locked on Jazz your first listen of the day. We are free and available on all podcasting apps as well as on YouTube. Everydayers, you're the greatest. Today's show is brought to you by Fire Stick TV, the Amazon Fire Stick TV. Turn your TV into an Xbox, no console needed. Head to amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to learn more. All right, today's show, we will do a late game watch. There were incredible games yesterday and all weekend long. What an incredible weekend of NBA basketball. Holy smokes. So we will do a late game watch. I want to introduce you to the Locke exclusive NBA draft numbers analysis. The origins of this is I have not watched any of these players all year. I've watched Cooper Flagg a few times. That's it. I have literally never seen Ace Bailey. I have never seen Dylan Harper. I don't know how to pronounce the guy's name from Baylor. I've never seen Jeremiah Fears. I've never seen these players at this point. I will start watching here shortly. Playoffs are too good right now. But I will start watching. But in the meantime, what we do is we break down all of the players by their numbers. So there's no bias. They're just literally names and numbers. And we've been doing this on Locked on Jazz now since the 2019 season. So we have the 2019, 2020, 2021, 22, 23, 24, 25 years worth of data. We break every player into athletic stats, playmaking stats, shooting, and creating. 4 different categories. And we now have 6 years of data to start looking and seeing if there are benchmarks by which a player must perform to be successful. I'm going to give you a slice of the pie today. I'm going to add in more of the pie each day this week. If I gave you the whole pie right now, you would be gluttonously overstuffed, feel gross, hate the pie, and probably go into a food coma, a stats coma of death. It really is comparable if you just sat there with a whole chocolate cream pie and ate the whole thing. You'd feel terrible. It wouldn't be nearly as good. So I'm going to give you a piece or two today, a piece or two tomorrow, etc. We're going to do this all week. We'll do 5 or 6 players a day. Today we're doing 5. We'll try to get through 30, the top 30 draft pick prospects, and then we'll continue through second round and things of that nature. Okay. So the first statistical category is athleticism. And that's broken into 2 skill sets: transition percentile and isolation percentile. How does the player do in transition? How does the player do in isolation? The isolation number has not shown us great indicators, but it tells us a little bit about the player. The transition has begun to show some signs. Okay. So if you have at least 40 transition opportunities, these are only first round draft picks, and you're in the 85th or better percentile, 26 of the 33. It's a pretty good number. 26 of the 33, 79% play over 20 minutes a game. Okay. So I would say that's a pretty good benchmark. Now, if you're sub 30%, you actually still play a decent amount. There is a little bit of bigger bust factor, but it's not outrageous the other way. Okay. So there's a difference. If you have high transition numbers, you hit. If you don't, and remember, some of these players are getting 20 minutes a night because they're, frankly, well, a good example is Keontae George was sub 30 percentile in transition in his performance at Baylor, he's getting over 20 minutes a night. But only 59% of the players who are sub 30 percentile in transition get over 20 minutes a night at this stage of their career average. So, like, that's a pretty good indicator right there. If you're above 85%, your elite transition, 79% of the time, you're ending up playing at least 20 minutes a night in the NBA. And we'll try to I'm going to keep backing this up. 2018, 2017, it just takes a long time. It's all manual. As much as I've tried, I've not figured out a computer science data this in. There's a manual entry point that has to happen. If anybody would like to do it for me, no. 20. So that's on transition. Isolation hasn't shown a ton. Okay. Part 2. So that's the first. Athleticism is our first check. Part 2 is playmaking. And that's basically what you do in the pick and roll. Just your ability to play make in the pick and roll. We'll come back to that number later this week. That's the slice of the pie I'm moving off of. The biggest finding that we've had in 5 years of this, or 6 years of this now, is that the shooting numbers, spot up effective field goal percentage, and catch and shoot effective field goal percentage at whatever level you're playing are indicators. Okay. There have been 18 players that are in the sub 30 percentile shooting. 8 of the 18 have shot below 30% in their NBA career from 3. That's incredible. Let me say it again. These numbers get better. Okay. 18 players have been in the sub 30 percentile in what percentile, not shooting, but percentile. So compared to other players in whatever league they were in, 18 of them, 8 of them have gone on to shoot below 30% at the NBA level. That means you really, unless you're Derek Lively, you can't play. 13 of the 18 have gone on to shoot 33% or below in three-point shooting. 68%. None of the 18 have become league average shooters. So there's a real benchmark in shooting right there. If you're below the 30th percentile, it's an issue. 18 first-round draft picks since 2019, 0 have become league average three-point shooters. 68% are below 33%. And to me, that's a little bit of the Mendoza line, if you know an old baseball reference, of whether you can play or not. If you are below 40 percentile in your spot-up effective field goal percentage, there's 9 of them that are between 30 and 40%. 1 of those is below 30%. 3 of those 9 is 33% or below. And 2 of the 9 actually became above average. Cam Reddish and Patrick Williams. That does not really reek of being great shooters, but they both are above that. So it improves a little bit, but if you're at below 40, you're in the threshold. If you're wondering, Isaiah Collier was like in the 45th percentile last year. Or at USC. If you were above the 90th percentile in catch and shoot or spot up effective field goal percentage, and we can stretch this to 85. It's interesting is only 27 players have done it. Only 3 of these players, there's only 3 players in the whole league that shoot over 40%. Desmond Payne's one of them. 8 of the 27 have gone on to shoot above 38%. So not as high as you might think, but only 21 first-round draft picks shoot above 38%, and 8 of them are in this group. So that changes the math a little bit, right? And 15 of the 27 have gone on to shoot above league average. Okay, so shooting numbers from collegiate makes sense, but the myth that you can teach someone how to shoot, I think is a little questionable. And the last one's creating, which is jumper off the dribble. And I'll be honest, we'll look at jumper, we'll look into jumper off the dribble a little bit. Jumper off the dribble has not been the most. There's actually a little bit of a level, and I'll explain this to you again. This is the piece of the pie I'm not giving you today, is that there is a little bit of jumper off the dribble number that might matter is the amount you've taken. Like that actually might matter more than anything else. So that's the system. Bunch of metrics leading into 4 different things. Where is Cooper Flagg? Where is Dylan Harper? Where is Ace Bailey? Where? I think it's just Edgecomb. I made a big deal out of it, but I don't think it's hard to pronounce. VJ Edgecomb. And where is Jeremiah Fierce? Those are the generally thought of top 5 protected picks in this NBA draft. So that is next on Locked On Jazz. Today's edition of Locked On Jazz is brought to you by our friends over at Murdoch Chevy. The Murdochs, big smile on my face. Got to see Blake last week. Went down and was at the Genesis of Linden dealership, which is theirs. Incredible customer service. Everyone's been great, and it's exactly why I feel so comfortable telling you that if you're looking for a Chevy right now, you should be doing it with Murdoch Chevy. Located in Woods Cross, located in Logan, the Chevy truck, unbelievable. Right now, the 2024 Chevy Tahoe and Suburban, 0% for 60 months. It's 5 years. It's like free money, 0% for 60 years, by the way. Go check that out. Also, 0% 60 for qualified buyers on the Blazer, the Equinox, and the Silverado. So all sorts of great deals going on right now at Murdoch Chevy, located in Woods Cross and in Logan. If you're going to stop by, email me first at dlock09@gmail.com. That's dlock09@gmail.com. Today's show is also brought to you by Prize Picks. Download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA and get $50 instantly when you play $5. Basketball and hockey playoffs are here, and there's no better time to turn your sports knowledge into real cash with Prize Picks, the top destination for daily fantasy action. Prize Picks makes it simple. You pick more or less on any of at least 2 player projections, and you're in. You can mix and match players across basketball, hockey, baseball, and more for a shot to win up to 2,000 times your catch. Nikola Jokic, Jaylen Brown, what's your pick for who's going to get hot next? Anthony Edwards, just keeping to be hot. Turn your playoff hot takes into tickets to the baseball championship series as well. Every lineup you make with Prize Picks will enter into Takes 2 tickets sweepstakes, which you can get +1 VIP trip to the ship. You're there. All sorts of fun things, hockey as well, available for you. Taco Tuesday discounts and Flex Friday promos. Make sure you keep an eye on those. Download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Thanks so much for making Locked On Jazz your first listen of the day. Thanks so much for geeking out with me on all this stuff. All right, so we have the 4 characteristics by which we look at players: athleticism, playmaking, shooting, and creating. Now let's look at Cooper Flagg. We said it earlier, if your transition numbers are above the 85th percentile, 80% chance you're, boom, Cooper Flagg. 85th percentile in transition performance. Fabulous. Isolation percentage, which I told you doesn't seem that much of an indicator. He's in the 50th percentile. Pick and roll ball handling. Cooper Flagg, 91st percentile. Not a lot of guys have done that. And those guys that have generally have turned out to be pretty terrific. We'll do that. I'll have that for you in tomorrow's show. I could give you a quick snippet of it if you want it right now. The best pick and roll guys coming into the draft over the last few years are Zion Williamson, Baylor Shireman, Tyler Hero, Chris Murray, Moses Moody, DeAndre Hunter. Some of these I need to filter out. Some of these are like 22 chances. So high level. Malachi Flynn was the best he busted. Terrence Shannon was one of the best he busted. Cam Thomas has been pretty good. Malachi Branham. So this has not been a great indicator. Jared McCain, Reed Shepard, Darius Garland in his limited games, Jonathan Kuminga, Romeo Langford, Patrick Williams, Peyton Pritchard. Patrick Williams didn't run enough. Peyton Pritchard, Marcus Sasser. So not a huge, great indicator, actually. But can't hurt you. So that pick and roll handles has not been a super indicator on NBA success. And then I think one of the reasons for that is that small college guards can get a lot of pick and rolls and they can't play in the NBA. Spot up percentile, which we just talked about being so important. Cooper Flagg, 76 percentile. Not elite, but no red flag. Overall catch and shoot percentile, 71 percentile. And then we'll talk more as the week goes on about guarded and unguarded. Or excuse me, jumper off the bounce. I keep unguarded catch and shoot. It's only my own personal note. I just think it's an interesting number. They just so rarely get open in a college game. And then there's the off the bounce dribble. And Cooper's in the 59th percentile, which is fine. He's 18. There's not a red flag there anywhere. Everything there. There's not one little ounce that makes you say, not a thing. Victor actually had a few things that made you say, Victor's shooting numbers weren't particularly good. Still aren't, frankly. Victor's in some of those sub numbers. Not a single thing there on Cooper Flagg. It's all real. It's all worth it if we get him. It is all jump up and down and go crazy. No trepidation. Do not pass go. Do not worry. It is all of those things if you get Cooper Flagg. All right, let's look at the other kids. I'm trying to find my lottery thing, by the way. I thought I saved it, and I don't see it in my dashboard, and I can't remember the site name that we did our lottery thing the other day. It was way better than the other one we did. I'll have to find it. Okay. Dylan Harper, transition percentile, 50. Actually, let's run through the four guys. Harper, Bailey, Edgecomb, and Fears together. Dylan Harper, all of them a ton of transition, all over 100. Dylan Harper, 55th percentile. Ace Bailey, 55th percentile. VJ Edgecomb, 65th percentile. Jeremiah Fears, 60th percentile. No wow, no problems. This system, as much as anything, is looking for problems. Isolation percentage, which I just talked to you about, somewhat of an indicator, but not brilliant. 52 percentile, 42 percentile, 40 percentile, 69 percentile. Okay. Tells you that they're not like blow your mind, but Cooper's only 48th percentile. Pick and roll ball handling percentile. Dylan Harper, 82nd percentile on 166 attempts. Ace Bailey, 41st percentile on 49 attempts. VJ Edgecomb, 43rd percentile on 109 attempts. Feels low. Jeremiah Fears, 58th percentile on 218 attempts. So that's your pick and roll numbers. Fears ran 2 times the pick and rolls that Edgecomb did, 164, 165. Fears is a year and a half younger, too, by the way. The numbers tell me a little bit that Jeremiah Fears over VJ Edgecomb. I've not watched either of them. Spot up. Edgecomb is at 66%. Fears is at 50%. So that's an edge there. Dylan Harper, 86th percentile in spot up. And Ace Bailey, 57th percentile. So for all the Ace Bailey can't shoot this and that, I wouldn't worry about it too much. He's not in any danger zone at all here. In fact, on catch and shoot, overall catch and shoot, Ace Bailey's the best of the 5 at 80th percentile. Dylan Harper is at 74th, AJ Edgecomb, 86th, Jeremiah, or 65th, Jeremiah Fears, 66th. So the overall catch and shoot numbers tell you, don't worry about Ace Bailey had the highest effective field goal percentage. And interestingly, on Ace Bailey, he was terrible when unguarded. Dribbles off the bounce. I need to pull up my Fears number. For some reason, they did not go in. So I'm going to be doing this with you right now when I downloaded these last night or downloaded. You know what download is? David single-handedly writes them in by his very own self. Percentages dribble off the bounce. We said Cooper Flagg was in the 59th percentile. Dylan Harper's in the 42nd percentile. Ace Bailey in the 37th. A little nerve-wracking here, and we'll get you for this for you tomorrow. VJ Edgecomb is in the 21st percentile. it's a little unnerving. And we'll dig in tomorrow of what the impact of that is and how much we should be worried about that. The dribble off the bounce, effective field goal percentage, 31% for Edgecomb. Fears is in the 37th percentile. So nobody knocks this out of the park. As I said, my memory on this one a little bit is how many attempts did you have? Cooper had 100, Dylan Harper had 150, Ace Bailey had 151, Edgecomb only had 52, and Fears had 133. I'm not like going to overstate it, and I got to watch VJ Edgecomb a little bit more to understand him. I don't have anything. The only thing that would say to me here is like, this doesn't show me he does a lot, right? So in the 21st percentile and dribble off the bounce, I'm not in love with that. He ran 109 pick and rolls using the 43rd percentile. Nothing's a red flag on any of the top 5 picks. Nothing is a top 5 pick, red flag on any of the top 5 picks, but there's not anybody else that's saying to you like, oh, you should be doing this instead of Cooper Flagg. All right, we may have to go back to our really boring. I wish I could. I'll try to find it. See what I can see how fast I can multitask coming up here. Because I really thought I had saved this in some capacity. It was from the chat, our Fanspo. I got it. Thank you very much. Biggs on Twitter gave it to me, and we had the draft. All right, we will do the draft when we come back. Plus, we'll do a late game watch, and there's a ton of late game watches from one of the best weekends of playoff basketball we've had in a very, very long time. Incredible weekend of NBA basketball. But we draft lottery and late game watch next. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Locked On is FanDuel. And right now, go to FanDuel.com, and the deals are just fabulous. All right, so it's playoff time. There's all sorts of fun going on. You want to get into the action. You want to have fun with it. Then you do it with FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Locked On. And when you win your first $5 bet, things get even better for you because FanDuel is rolling out the bonus bets for you this year. That's right. So go to FanDuel.com, find whatever line, over, under, you want to believe in and go for, and bet with FanDuel. And your first $5 bet that you win will go ahead and give you a bonus bet along the way. That's pretty great, right? Pretty amazing. Overall at FanDuel, $250 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. So from 3-pointers to steals to assists, whatever it is, you can get it done over at FanDuel.com. Claim your $250 in bonus bets today. Thanks so much for listening to Locked On Jazz each and every day, making it your first listen. Every dayers out there, you're the greatest. Appreciate you so much. It's gorgeous out. I woke up to snow at my house this morning. All right. Every day on the show, we conduct an edition of the draft lottery. I don't know why, because it's fun, because we get it done. And let's go. 14 picks. Wait a sec. I need to have my little prop over here to tell me which each pick is supposed to be so that when we run this, I can follow along. Are we ready? Dramatic set. Can the Jazz get Cooper Flagg? The lottery is underway. The 14th pick needs to be San Antonio. It is from Atlanta. The second pick next to be Atlanta. It is. Chicago should come up 12. They do. Dallas should come up 11. They do. Portland should come up 10. They don't. Portland is in the top 4. The Rockets slide to 9. The next one should be the Spurs at 9. Toronto should show up at 8. They do. Brooklyn should show up at 7. They do. Philadelphia should show up at 6. They do. 5 should be New Orleans. It's the Hornets. New Orleans has popped up. 4 is the Wizards. Can the Jazz get the number 1 pick? Wait, the Portland gets If that's what it feels like on a simulator, imagine what it'd be like on May 12th or whatever it is. If the woohoo! We got Cooper Flagg! Love it. That'd be great. Maybe that's tomorrow's show. We'll just throw all the numbers out. We got Cooper Flagg. Not a red flag on him in the numbers. Woohoo! Probably just woke people up in my house. It's 6:40 in the morning. I'm screaming, we got Cooper Flagg. They're rolling over in bed going, wait, the lottery's not till May. The hell's wrong with you? Look at that. Utah 1, New Orleans 2, Portland 3. The West gets better. Washington 4, Charlotte 5, Philly 6. And the Utah Jazz, 14% chance, came through. All right, late game watch. Let me start with Denver Clippers. So first of all, the thing jumps out to me right now, just around the league, the size of everyone's playmaking guard, the size of everyone's playmakers. Like in Orlando, Boston, 6'10" Paulo Banchero, 6'9" Franz Wagner, and 6'9" Jason Tatum are the primary ball handlers on these teams. In Houston, in Golden State, it's Draymond Green. And in Houston, it's either Amen Thompson or tiny Fred VanVleet. And in LA, it's James Harden. He's 6'5", 6'4". And Denver, it's Jokic. Maybe Jamal Murray. It's crazy. The Denver Clipper game was crazy. This is the Aaron Gordon dunk. There is a play with 3:40 left in the fourth quarter of this game where, like, when you look back and wonder if you win a game by position, Jokic taps a rebound out. Then they give Jokic the ball back. Jokic plays pick and roll as the point guard with Kawhi Leonard guarding him. And it leads to a wide open Jamal Murray 3 with 3:40 left in the fourth. Like, if you want to know what Jokic is, that to me was the play of the night. I thought Denver looked exhausted, kind of like the Lakers did last night. Denver never made a second play in that game. When Clippers, if you don't know the game, Clippers were down 20. They rally all the way back. Denver doesn't go to their bench at all. Russell's out. And no one went to the bench this weekend. And then the Clippers win the game. Jokic throws up an air ball, and Aaron Gordon dunks it. But Denver looked exhausted. They never could make a second play. They would make the first play, and then they would take a breath, and they wouldn't make the second play. Adelman can't challenge. Adelman has to use a bunch of timeouts because of the run the Clippers are on. And so he has a play he should challenge with 1:38 left, and he can't challenge it because he only has one timeout left. It was really an interesting moment on how you manage pick and roll. Clippers are initiating everything with a hardened pick and roll, and they're really moving the basketball. And then it gets to Kawhi an awful lot. Some interesting strategy moves. There was tied at 97, and someone did not go for 2 for 1. I think it was the Clippers. It's an interesting question of whether it would 2 for 1 tied at 97. And then the other one was Jokic, just 16 seconds left. They just went pure ISO right block. Old school. Here's the ball, right block, popped it out. Then the only question I have on that last play of the game and on that Jokic thing is, like, the minute Jokic gets the ball on the right block, shouldn't the Clippers be doubling and force the ball out of you? Isn't it anybody but Jokic a better shot at that point? Boston, Orlando. Boston's going to win this series. This is the game Boston lost. I actually didn't like Boston in this game. Their final possessions were Tatum ISO, Brown ISO, Tatum ISO, Tatum ISO, Tatum ISO, Porzingis post up, Tatum ISO, Pritchard getting frustrated and seeing the ball in forever, driving and turning it over. I really did not like what I saw to Boston at all in Game 3 in this series. And, you know, for all the talk of Rudy getting taken in space and abused, what Franz Wagner was doing to Kristaps Porzingis was every bit anything anyone's ever done to Rudy in space. And then I thought Mazzulla mishandled the game where he should have fouled when he didn't. He took it too late And then they didn't have enough time to do anything. And then the official David Guthrie just had a brutal game. He's the same one who blew the game the other night. Keep an eye on whether we see David Guthrie or not. Houston, Golden State. Can we just take a moment about Steph Curry? Steph Curry just carried his team to a playoff win. On the floor with him were Brendan Bajemski, Gary Payton, Draymond Green, and Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield's like borderline rotation player at this point. Draymond Green's great. Payton and Porzingis. I mean, incredible. There was a play in this game. I don't know if I can explain it. Again, I probably should have pulled it up. I might pull this up tomorrow. So, Gary Payton inbounds. Basic inbound to Draymond Green. Draymond rotates it to Porzingis at the top of the circle. Nothing, 342 left. No one's doing anything. Steph Curry comes and sets a back pick on Gary Payton II, who inbounds man. And then Draymond's waiting after getting the inbound to set the next pick for Steph, it looks like. So the guy guarding the inbound, Jabari Smith, who just checked in, gets hit with this pick. And it's from Steph. Well, he thinks he's switching, but Van Vliet is like tight on Steph's body. Because it's Steph. He's trying to stay attached. And Gary Payton just goes to the back cut off the inbound and gets a wide open layup from a pass from Porzingis. Beautiful floor spacing by Steve Kerr. Gorgeous play. The value of Steph Curry, but a huge play that kind of busted the game open. Houston does not have a play late in games. Their best play they kind of run is a Sengun Van Vliet pick and roll, where then Jalen Green sets the Spain pick and roll on Sengun's rolling and pops out for a shot. But Houston has no late game offense. They don't have a late game player. The interesting one on Golden State because of Steph. This is where Steph they set their opening pick so high. And you have to, if you're going to switch, you have to switch. You have to play it because Steph can just bury that three from so far away that it just opens up the floor for everything else in a way that no one else can do it. It breaks my heart to say this, but Draymond's defense was pretty amazing. Minnesota Lakers last night, just two quick thoughts. Lakers just looked tired. They know what's subbed out. They just never went to the rim. Never, ever, ever went to the rim in that game. Minnesota, DiVincenzo attacked. Anthony Edwards attacked. Like for all the three-point shooting talk, you got to go to the rim some. And LA's offense late was just horrendous. Their late game offense was awful. This game does change when Rudy Gobert goes out. Minnesota spreads it. Gobert sits with like 5 minutes left and changes the game. It's an interesting note for Rudy there. All right, that is Locked On Jazz today. More draft by the numbers all week long. We'll try to get the all 30 first-round picks this week. Right now, we'll send you the first ever 24/7 national NBA channel, Locked On NBA. Make sure you check out NBA Game Night every game, every night on Locked On NBA Game Night.